everybody. Welcome back to Hearing Things with Julie and Brad. We are so excited because we are doing a series where we are recording with our coworkers that we're very close to, who have become more than coworkers, they've become best friends. And I have mine here today. And I'm going to ask her to introduce herself. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Well, thank you very much.
How are you?
This is an
Tell
honor.
us
I'm
all
good.
about you.
I'm good. My name is Tricia White. Work with Julie for 13 years. 6 in the same building until they separated us because we were just too much to handle. So we have small opportunities at work, but we do a lot outside.
We do.
Work.
It's awesome. So we are going to focus on kind of our relationship as it relates to my hearing loss. So I guess one of my first questions, I don't even know, because I've known you for so long. Do you remember how you found out about my hearing loss? Like, is that even a thing? Did you notice it one day? Did I say something?
I noticed your hearing aids, but you don't wear your ears up or your hair up that often to show your ears. But I noticed it, and I was like, oh, okay. And then one day you're like, I'm getting new hearing aids. I want to have them sparkle and bling. And that's when I think I really got to know more about your hearing loss.
Right.
And I was like, okay, what do you... I like the Elsa look.
The white ones I got. The Elsa, the frozen ones.
And they were like, I'm going to get these new ones and blah, blah, blah. I can't wait. And then like 2 weeks later, she's like, and of course me, I'm like, ooh. It's something that you have to wear, but yeah, it looks so pretty.
Why not?
Do
it up. So what were you surprised when you found out it was hearing impaired? Do you remember? I mean, it's been a decade or more at this point.
I guess slightly, because from my experience with those who have a hearing loss is that they don't speak as well. Mm-hmm. There's definitely a change in how they pronounce things. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, wait a second. And it made me wonder, when did you lose your hearing loss? But then I'm also, well, she'll tell me when she wants to. I don't want to intrude. And we didn't know each other as well. Mm-hmm. And as time went on,
it kind of all.
You actually offered. You would just tell me.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's good. It's good that you kind of held back until you knew the relationship and my comfort level with disclosure. But I also, at the same time, when you are comfortable, ask the curious questions. You know, hopefully it will be received well. I mean, it is usually with me, but not with everyone. But try it. So, how does my hearing loss impact how we work together? Do you ever have any thoughts about that, or?
Well, like what happened earlier where I was whispering, and but I was looking at you, so I had to make sure that I was looking at you, like in meetings. You had strategically sat yourself somewhere. Yep. So I come into a meeting, I'm like, Julie, where are you sitting? Because I didn't want to take the seat.
Myself around you.
So I knew that she had to have certain placement. And I have a friend who has a hearing loss on one side, so when I talk to her, I have to remember to go on that side. Like, so I know that those type of things happen. But I always wanted to be, so I could easily look at you, so you could either hear me out loud, or if I was mouthing something to you that was important.
No faculty meetings like that ever happen. Number 5, do you have your prompt before we tell the story?
I do. Hold on.
You need to go get it. We're not going to move on until we are totally ready to tell the story.
I'm going to get my guy. I never named him. I should.
For those wondering at home, yes, we've been separated more than once in professional settings.
I can see that.
Oh my God, so bad.
So do you try to push the envelope until you get separated?
Always, and start laughing, and then it's a problem. Okay, you ready?
Oh, nice.
So Trish, question 5. This is all you. Has my hearing loss ever caused any comical moments? Take it away, Tricia.
So, one thing I know about Julie's hearing aids is that she can do Bluetooth. So she can listen to music, she can talk on the phone with her phone, and she'll say to me, like, if I'm in the car, hold on, I'm switching to my Bluetooth. And so I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, you know, I have my wireless ears, and like, that'd be really cool if I could doing the same thing in meetings. Yeah. So we're sitting in the opening meeting this year, supposedly our last one for a friend of ours who's now still staying with us.
Yep.
And we're sitting there, and all of a sudden I know she's sitting there. And I turn and look at her, and I go, what are you listening to? Because I knew she was not paying attention. She had something going on in her phone, and I'm being left to suffer by myself. So I was a little perturbed. And Julie goes, I'm listening to a podcast on alien abduction. And she yells it. And I go, and now everybody for 2 rows hears it. people are turning and looking to us. I'm just like, okay. So
bad we had to leave. We had to leave. We were
Normally we
laughing
don't
so
go.
hard. We had to go in the hall, and I don't think we went back in. Did we go back in? I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
We were screaming.
It was the funniest
so
thing.
funny.
So maybe a week or two later, I get this friend in the mail. So Kira, my daughter Kira, opens and she's like, "Oh my God, Mom, what did you get me? Did I order this? Did you? This is a free thing." And she's patting it. I'm like, I have no idea where this is. Checking the package. I'm looking on my Amazon account, thinking, "Oh dear God, what did I order? Where'd this come from?" I was like, "Well, I don't know. I don't know what to do." So Kira's like, "Oh, it's an iPhone holder." So she's told, "Mom, can I use it?" Sure. I don't even know what it is. I'm like, maybe it was an accident. Maybe someone will tell us. All of a sudden, maybe 4 or 5 days later, did you happen to get something in the mail? Something in a letter. Well, I got a lot of things in the mail. Mostly bills, but is there something in particular? Did you happen to get a package? I'm like, oh my God, it's the alien. Now, mind you, telling the story to my family, it's lost on them. They're like, I don't understand. It's so true. If anybody who is listening to something and has no other background knowledge to judge themselves, shout something.
I couldn't hear my own voice.
No.
Yeah.
So I was just letting the world know that I was not paying a bit of attention
I
to this
was
meeting.
absolutely dying.
And I'd do it again.
And the worst thing is, Annie doesn't remember that.
Really?
She said she doesn't remember that.
How did she miss it?
I don't know, because
everybody else around was
everyone
turned around.
they all turn around and looked, and there's Annie.
Oh, God.
Paying attention like a good, good employee of 40 years.
Number 6. Has my hearing ever caused some stressful moments? And I'm going to combine that with question number 8, which is infuriating. If you've seen something happen that's infuriating. So we're going to put those two together.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be the same answer. And I'm pretty sure we're thinking of the same meeting in the library.
No, it was in the cafeteria.
Oh, it was in the cafeteria?
Well, there was another one, though, with the tapping.
God, the tapping. Okay, you tell.
So I have two
tell one, I'll tell the
stories.
other
Neither
one.
one of them caused me stress, but were more like infuriating and appalled. And one had me giggle because I couldn't believe the daringness of and the lack of social awareness. And the other one, it was a friend, and I was absolutely so speechless because I was appalled on the behavior. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even do this to an animal. So the first one was a person walked up to Julie. She had her hair up and tapped her hearing aid and goes, oh, hearing aids. And
And then walks away.
And walks away, and I'm sitting
It
there
was
like,
adults. I expected from the kids. It was an adult. And I just looked at it. I went, can I help you in any way?
I started laughing. I did not know what to do. I was like, oh my God, who does that? I'm like, consider this the worst, right?
I hope you're watching the person that did that.
Oh my God. Anyways, the second one was
This one
really like
not
it,
cool.
I could not stop talking about it because when I get upset by something, I have to voice it and talk it out so that it comes off my chest and I can move forward. I'm pretty accepting of people's stupidity, but I need to also talk it out so that
was a big one.
I feel okay with everything okay as I can with everything that happened. So this friend was a supposedly really good friend at the time. We're sitting in a meeting, and it's a loud cafeteria. The acoustics are terrible, so terrible that they actually said they couldn't hear me when I gave a speech. Remember that?
You of all people.
I know. Even like, they're like, that's so crazy. It's those lame people. Anyways, excuse me. So we're sitting at a table, and I was across from you, and you were talking to somebody this way. And the person sat down next to you and was trying to get your attention. And instead of doing or waiting, Julie! And Julie went, and this is me.
Oh my God.
I stood there. I didn't even know what to do. I was in
was-
complete stunned
What
silence.
did I even do? I don't even remember.
No, you just looked
can't
at her,
imagine I didn't, like-
and she goes, "Well, you didn't hear me." and I had to get your attention, and I was like, sorry, first time in history. But I was so angry because
it was pretty infuriating.
As like one of the things working in restaurants that people would do, waitress,
Yeah.
like snapping
Yeah.
at a human is so
rude.
disrespectful.
And disrespectful, 100%.
I just, and sometimes I think about it because my dog, when I need her to drop the ball, I'll go, drop it.
I used to do that
Drop
with
it.
my dog too, yeah.
Drop
That's
it.
an animal.
But it's an animal and it's a signal. Like we have a
Right.
clicker. I
Yep.
didn't have the clicker on me, so that does the same sound.
Right.
Otherwise, I normally. But like I thought about it when I saw these questions. I'm going, drop it, and I'm like, oh my god. I am that person. No, I'm not. It's my animal. I'm just mirroring what we've used for our
Your training
plan. So I'm sitting here. Of course, the dog drops the ball and looks at me, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that was...
I was so angry. I
That was
remember
a
going
defining
home
moment.
and telling my husband.
Yeah.
And he's like, did Julie slap her? I go, no, we were both so
Stunned.
shocked. I think Melissa was there too.
Yeah, Melissa was there.
And I think Melissa's same thing was like, what just happened? And I think that was probably the turning point.
That was
for
a
you.
turning point for me in terms of changing connections with people in that moment.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was,
especially for that particular person.
That
That was disgusting.
not okay. So we talked a little bit about accommodations you make for me. Like, you're really good about moving to my dominant side or looking at me, making sure your voice volume, you speak clearly, you repeat things, you're very patient. Anything else you do unknowingly? And did I ask you to do those things, or are those things we just kind of figured out together as we went along?
I
Because I don't
think it
think
was
you've
more
ever
of-
assumed
No.
to step in and make an accommodation without my input.
No, you've always said like, oh, I do better with people looking at me. If I
Right.
can't hear you, I can read lips. So I was like, oh, I gotta make sure that you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I make that mental note.
Right.
When we're in meetings, you're like, I do better with people on certain sides of me because you have a dominant hearing side, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I do have a friend who's very similar in that sense that she had a stroke, and
Right.
so she lost some hearing in her one ear. It's her right ear. So I said, I have to think about like when I'm walking with her. But I don't think it was ever one of those. It was just more like, oh, okay, this is what I need to do.
Right.
Like if you would.
Yeah, I feel like it's
I
things that we
don't
would have worked
really-
out together. I don't think you
Yeah.
ever assumed, oh, I'm going to jump in and be the savior.
I don't think I've ever asked you really a lot of. My kid has asked you questions.
Yes,
because
which
I've
is awesome.
encouraged her to say, well, you know Julie well enough.
Yep.
Please ask her. My
100%.
oldest not as much as comfortable, but we all know my youngest has no issues whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that because I feel like for me, I take the lead on what I need. I don't operate in a way that someone else can decide what that accommodation is going to be.
Right.
If anything, that would put me right over the edge.
Well, because everyone's different, and that's the way I
Right. So
always
for me, it's like,
approach
I will
things.
tell you what I need. You do not get to make that choice.
That's also your personality.
Big time. 100%. And I've been
We're the
advocating.
same.
I've been advocating for myself since I was in kindergarten. So
Yeah.
this is, just me. Like, no,
We
I get
learned
to
that
decide.
young.
I will choose. You
Yeah.
do not judge what I do and do not need. So I do appreciate that immensely. Number 9 needs no introduction. How has humor played a role in our interaction? I mean, really, just watch us for 2 minutes. All we do is laugh. The alien. I mean,
Sometimes I'll be
jokes.
like, "Are you on?
Yeah, you on?
You on?" I have to put my ears in. And I'm like, "Can you please do that? You leave them everywhere."
One of my favorites, mishearings in the hallway. I still don't know what it was you were asking me. Do you remember this? But for some reason, it was just like clear on the other end of the hall, and like we were just loud as hell. And I thought you were asking me if I lived on Robin Hood Road for some reason, and I assumed the stance as Robin Hood. And you're going, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Robin Hood Road." You're like, "That's not what I asked you." I'm like, "Okay, I'm feeling like an idiot in the middle of the hall." Do you remember that? Oh my god!
My
I don't
favorite
know
is
what
Wonder
the question
Woman.
was. Oh, Wonder Woman. Yes, that's a good one.
Good
That
one,
was another
too.
good moment.
I still have Wonder Woman sitting on my desk.
Do you still have
I
Wonder
do
Woman?
have her. She's sitting in my Fiona cup.
God,
Fiona
okay.
Finbar cup.
We will confess. I had to, when I was in grad school for the second time, I had to do an interview with someone in law enforcement or something.
Yeah.
Because I did a focused program on helping people with autism navigate the judicial system.
Oh.
It was really fascinating. I don't know anybody in law enforcement.
Yeah.
I forget about this assignment. I got to make something up. I call this one. I'm like, hey, you know enough cops. Help me out. Officer
Couple in the
Fiona,
family. So Officer
Fiona Finbar, right here.
I don't know where we got Fiona. The best is Julie Sutton. What Officer Fiona? Because her daughter's name is Fiona. What is going on?
What are you talking about? Yes.
So it was
the entire interview.
When in doubt, Fiona on or something like
Something like that.
And then in that is the Wonder Woman doll.
Oh God. Last question before we get to books: how do you view and treat people with deaf and hard of hearing challenges? Do you treat them any different after hanging out with me? I mean, I think you're probably always a very kind, accommodating person.
I don't think I've ever treated anyone different before or after knowing. You know, I think it was just, okay, this is who they are.
That's who they are. That's how your body works, and there we go.
I don't know. I hope that I think that I look at things like, okay, everybody's an individual and they have their own things. You know, people have physical things that they need accommodations for, and other people have some other, issues that, not a lot of crowds or whatever may be the case, and I just kind of roll with it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
My family motto is tuck and roll.
Tuck and roll, baby. Before we go to books, I'm going to point out the shirts.
Yeah.
We are having an old school Biggie's throwdown in this interview right now. We bought it back. Yep.
Do you remember the day that I painted or got your car? We put BU and Syracuse stuff all over it with Stacey Bailey. Put posters.
That was revenge. I pulled some stunts in my time on you people too, so I have that coming.
Actually, I don't think you've ever done one to me though.
No, but I put Stacey's desk.
You did it to Stacey.
I put under siege with hundreds of little green army men, finding them for weeks.
That was
and
funny.
Jen too. I did that to
yeah.
They were like,
I could see Jen. Wait, Julie. It was not even like where this comment was. Julie, and you could hear her in the sped reading office.
That's so much fun.
Oh my God.
I miss you every day.
I do too.
I
no
do.
idea.
I don't think anybody else misses us working in the same building, but I miss you terribly.
I think there's a few that enjoy our mischievous behaviors and our antics. I think Erica misses it. Erica Fontaine. I think she does, because I've said to her, I was like, "Oh, I want to see you." She's like, "The two of you."
Brutal. I mean, in every facet of life, we've been through a lot.
Andrew was commenting.
Yeah, we've been through a lot, both personally, professionally. Oh yeah, everybody misses us.
Yeah, I miss Carol now.
I do too. She's awesome. Good people. I mean, she's still alive. She's not gone.
No, I'm sorry. She's retired.
I mean, Jesus, that sounded more dramatic.
I know. Well, it's very dramatic for me because she was like the best.
Awesome.
She's awesome. She was always so calm, like a child would be having their bad day, and there's Carol. Let's come up with a plan. Let's sit down and talk. And I'd be like, okay. Oh, wait, not for me? Okay, I'm sorry. I needed the mental plan. I apologize.
That was great.
Yeah.
We've done it all, from surgeries to happy things, everything.
She drove me to one of my surgeries.
Twice.
I've had a couple of lumpectomies, and Jolie drove me to two of them, and one of them, she was she comes in, bet you don't know who's here for the surgery. And I'm like, the cranky one who couldn't have coffee? Oh my God, the chapel bridge. They let her go in with me because they thought she was my partner. And we rolled with it. We're like,
rolled with it. I'm like, I'll keep you company. We're right there.
So they're like, oh, all right, that's great. Oh, that's wonderful. So I'm sitting there going, they think we're together. They hadn't put any drugs in me at this point. But all of a sudden I look up and I'm lying down like this. I look up, I go, is that a sign? It's the picture of the Chappaquiddick Bridge. Make sure you take care of my kids. Oh my God. And no one knew. Beth didn't know we were friends.
Oh my God.
Wait, why are you taking her to the hospital? We're friends. You are? We work in the same building.
How did you miss this? Right.
People are not
Clearly
observant.
we weren't that disruptive. Then she found out, and then it was after that you were off. Left me.
I know.
Left me for Rob Ackerman.
We're the besties. Love you.
And every year we go to the BC. Every year it's here. We go to the BC Syracuse game. I always meet up with you.
The only
even in a rainstorm.
So we end with book recommendations.
Yeah.
So we're going to transition to you with your book recommendations.
Book, not genre.
Don't worry, Brad. I will mention the proper
It's literature. Lay it on us, Trish. What do you got?
Okay, so my adult recommendation. I'd like to preface that.
This is not a read aloud for the kids.
No, not a read aloud for the kids. Well, unless you're doing like, an over 20 read aloud. Is the book series A Court of Thorns and Roses.
It's so good.
By Sarah J. Maas. I actually introduced it to Julie.
You did.
And halfway through the book, she's like, "Oh my God, why did you tell me about this earlier?" She's a really good author. Things are twisting and turning.
The storylines are great.
Yes.
I mean, it really carries through. Was it a 5-book series? 6, 7?
6, because there's a half book in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But I love murder mystery books, and I love things that just all of a sudden I'm like, wait, that was not what I had thought, and you get to the end.
Yeah.
And she did that for me. Yes, there's romance, there's a family piece to it, there's definitely a plot, there's always a twist. Something comes out, and you're like, whoa. And I'm the worst with reading books. I have to. Is this person going to do this?
Oh, no.
I'm the worst. So a friend of mine had already read the series, and I used to hound her. And she's like, I'm going to change my phone number. And you did the same thing. I need to know what's going on. Don't Google anything. I Googled the wrong thing. Well, I Googled something, and I got the wrong answer, and I was devastated. No. And then the book, I'm like, I don't get what just happened. I don't Google anything. So,
no spoilers.
It's a fun read.
It's
a
a
light
really
read. It's good before bed. It's like mind candy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not like you're like
it.
I read a lot of Tammy Hogue books, which are very like you have to really remember the details.
Yeah.
At the time when I started these books, I did not have the bandwidth to hold on to that information. Mm-hmm. So this was a very light but entertaining, kept my focus, and I couldn't. All of a sudden I'd be like, oh my God, it's 2:30 in the morning. I got to get up in 3 hours to go to work. What is going on? So there's she and her other series are the same way. I did hers audio, so the accents and the voices definitely made it.
Oh, I might try that. That would be fun going to work.
So there's certain book series that I've done that with. Like I started out with the audio just because, it's free, I'll get this, and because I do Audible. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, I can't not go to the book. Like I can't, like I just read a book that I normally do in a series. I normally do the Audible, and I was doing the accents in my head because it was like the third or fourth book, and I'm like, yeah, this is what Alessandro sounds like this, and Izzy sounds like that, and so But I love, and some of this series too. They have what they call the unabridged acting out ones. So they do it with
radio drama.
Like the video drama, but it's no video. It's just they have multiple people speaking in their characters in it.
Oh, that's cool.
And it really, and Chris, you're like, the worst is when you're running and everyone's running fast, and then you're like, and then you stop, and everyone's like, "What's wrong?" Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Sorry, I'm in the night court right now. I need to come back.
I'm sorry. I'm at the night court. Yeah. With my alien. Oh my God. Help us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Here's my recommendation. So because I'm sitting with my teacher bestie, I pulled Inch by Inch by Lionni, which is the very first lesson I wrote in college, my freshman year in the School of Ed. I had to write a lesson to go with a book, and I did Inch by Inch, and I made it a math lesson. You know how many of these little freaking worms I made? And I shrunk them on the copy machine. This is back in the day when you had to do everything by hand. And I made it a measurement lesson, and I glued.
Oh my God.
I got a separate copy of the book, and I glued all the little worms on all the animals so the kids could use it as a measurement tool. It was something.
Those are the things we did in our first couple
It
of
was
years.
things when we were young as a teacher. Now I'm like, what's on teachers? Pay teachers. Let's put something else go, people. We're not doing anything.
Oh, where did you get that? Copy it for me.
All right. So yeah, that's my pick today.
That's a good book.
Teachers. It's adorable. It was great for my very first math lesson ever back in 1992. We got Bud.
So I have From a Certain Point of View, the Return of the Jedi book.
Ooh, what's that?
So it's
You
really
got two
fun.
Star Wars
It's the whole series. There's the
Very
all
big
of them.
Star Wars fan.
They do the New Hope, Empire, and Jedi,
Yeah.
and it's from a certain point of view. Remember, that's the line that Obi-Wan told Luke about his father.
Yeah.
So every scene in the movie is narrated by a background character. So it's pretty
Shut
cool.
up.
So.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Did Han shoot first? Did they cover that?
So I think it was from Greedo's point of view. I think
Was it?
that
I
scene.
wonder.
Well, that was the first one. It's not Jedi.
Right.
This
No,
is
I know
Jedi.
that. I know movie brain.
I was trying to get on the same page as you.
Clearly, they're in different books, but okay.
I was talking about one book, and you went on to another one. But yeah, so it's fun. It's fascinating. It's really interesting because it's
cool.
like just some schlub character or something. So
Yeah.
they're really interesting because if you watch it enough, if you watch the books enough, you can recognize who the narrator is, even if that character didn't have any speaking lines.
Really?
And I've done that, so yeah, I can recognize it. So.
Did Han Solo shoot first in the cantina scene?
Yes.
Right? Yeah, we think
100%. 3 for 3.
3 for 3.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you this before we go. Of the original 3, what's your favorite?
Oh, interesting.
Because this has been
Right,
going to
right.
for 6 months.
Right? It's
I
not
know that
easy.
The Empire Strikes Back is my least favorite.
Really?
This is my least favorite.
Interesting.
I loved the original Star Wars because it got me into sci-fi.
New Hope, the first one.
The new, yeah.
Interesting.
But the Return of the Jedi was kind of like the clincher. Like it brought everything back. All the questions were answered. I felt that like it's almost like when you're watching one of the middle Twilight books, those movies. It was like, did we really need this?
Yes, we do.
I know, but like it was not
We need
as
it all.
grasping through me. Like it didn't pull me in like it did the first one. But granted, I watched them at different points in my life.
Right.
Okay.
I was really little when I first saw Star Wars, and I was like, oh my God. Even though there's some person going, on the screen. Now they're like, we showed that to people.
I wonder
now
if we're
they're
the
like,
same age. Jedi would have been the one that would have been like our peak time.
Yeah.
Like the one we probably remember.
But the
vividly.
original, the first one, and it came out
New
in
Hope was
77.
special, yeah.
That one was the one that drew me in.
Same.
I started watching all the different like sci-fi stuff, and I even started watching like Hitchcock and things like that.
Oh.
It got me into that because it was just not the norm.
Yeah.
Right.
And I loved it. It was like thinking outside the box, which I knew I still don't think I do well.
You don't know where
Thinking
the box is.
I don't even know if there is a box. Still looking for it. Could be in another universe. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
Could be doing light speed somewhere else.
I love that you backed me up on Jedi.
Sorry.
It's all right. So we had this discussion earlier, and so like I write enough that I recognize that Empire is a better narrative arc. There's more beats to it. It's a better written story. But I do have a special place in my heart for Jedi. So like I go back and forth between that and this one. We had arguments about it. So I don't think you can go wrong with an answer. I love the original trilogy.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what
Also,
you think.
too, is that like Han was captured. That probably might have been my.
Yeah.
It was a downer for sure.
was- yeah.
Which is really funny because I hate books that end on a downer. But I guess this is a movie, so maybe that's a little different.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of Happy Ever After. I have a sister who reads way more than I do, and I'll take her book recommendations because I know there's a Happy Ever After.
No,
right.
no, not me.
And sometimes I'll read books. I have to be in the frame of mind to
Yeah.
read something that could be disturbing, like Hush, or
Oh.
sad, like The Crawdads. Saying like things like that. I still haven't read The Measure because I'm like, I don't know. I have to wait till I have a
So
break.
good.
I know, and I've recommended it to so many people. But like I read The Whisper Network. It totally took a turn. I did not expect the ending, but it wasn't like a happily ever after. But I had to be in the frame of mind. Like when I first started, I was like, oh, not in the frame of mind. I'll come back to that. So like in my Kindle, I'll have like 30 books going. And I'm like, oh, I'm really not in the mood for this one. Go back into the library and I pull something else out. Just because I have to. It's the frame of mind. I'm looking
absolutely.
for my reprieve, my,
And I'm the exact opposite. Happy endings to me is a
Boring.
fall back, slap it on, call the book done.
Lazy.
Lazy. I like suspense and drama and like psychological things.
Well, my happy end ever after happens to be with the couple, not necessarily the plot. Does that make sense? Like I've done a lot of like military ones where the ending are like, oh, that's awful. But yet in the end, the couple that were not necessarily the main characters, but maybe one main character and one side character end up finding
you need
their
that resolution.
Yeah.
Nah.
I have another
have you
book
read The
series for
Women?
you. I have not.
It's
It's
a-
on. It's on my list.
It's
yeah.
fantastic. Happy ending, I'll tell you that. It's
Do you
excellent.
like murder mystery?
I like
So
it.
the Stalking of Jack the Ripper. There's a 4-book series. I highly recommend it in Audible though because they have their British accents.
I have problems
it's
with audiobooks because of my hearing.
Oh,
Yeah, same.
But just imagine the people talking in
Sure.
but they're like, oh, don't look at me in that tone. Because it's Victorian age group, so like.
Oh, you would love that.
They don't,
Right?
oh, he touched me without a glove. I'm like, woo, getting racy.
You can see an ankle. Look out!
I know, right? But every single, like the whole plot of it, there was no like, the ending wasn't necessarily meaning about like a love interest. It was finding out who the murderer of Jack the Ripper. Then they had like there's 3 other books, but it was the ending. I'm like, oh my. Nope, didn't think that one. That, and I'm reading the Gilded Age murders at the Newport houses. So there's one like Murder at the Elms, Murder at the Marble House.
Oh, fun.
I'm on like book 9 or 10. I have yet to pick out the murderer, and I'll sit there. I'm like, okay, so we have this person, we have this person, we have this person. And then I'm like, all right, and I write it down, I put it on a piece of paper, and I'll give it to somebody and be like, can you read that? And yep, all right, that's my person, just so you know. And I'll come in the next day, like, you finished the book, I'm like, yep, not my person! I'm such a loser, I didn't figure it out. But I like that book because it's like, I need to figure it out. I need to know. So those are the type of things, I like those.
Awesome.
But they're light, but yet not. Like, you think about it, but not.
Love it.
Not in depth, like, you gotta
not like the heavy stuff that I read.
Or heavy as far as drama too.
Yeah. No, I love some drama.
How many books do I have to put in the link? We've got like 7 books now.
Tricia's here.
I read 160 last year.
What was your final number?
116.
116.
Mm-hmm.
Slipping.
I am slipping. You're taking up too much of my time.
I know. It's Venus's fault.
Yeah, that's right. It's all Venus's fault.
We're gonna blame Venus. All right.
We're gonna wrap up. We've got things to do and places to go. And
all right.
thank you for being with me today. And
thank you for having me. This is an honor.
Even though you went to Syracuse, I still love you.
BC.
Bye,
Bye, everybody.